starting to feel a little bit like spring, dare I say it, and we're well and truly ready for it. It has been the wettest winter ever, wettest spring, and I for one have had enough of it. Somebody asked me the other day what sort of farm we have, and I said we have a mud farm. It literally has been the wettest time. So today I'm just putting some more haylage bales out, because usually in March we've stopped feeding the winter food now, and the grass has usually started to grow, and we can start thinking a little bit about letting things eat grass, and we don't have to supplementary feed. But because the ground is just still so wet and still so muddy, we're having to feed some more of our haylage. Thankfully last year we had a really good crop and we made surplus bales, so we had some extra, so we've got plenty to go around, but we're still having to put the bales out with the tractor and into the ring feeder. I've just turned the dairy cows out this morning. The red poll cows have been out all winter, but we've turned the dairy cows out this morning as the sun has started to shine a little bit, and so they're all in together now. So I'm just taking in some haylage now, and they can eat some of this. It really is one of the most beautiful places to work here at Tatton Park, and I love it. And one of the things I sometimes love to do is just watch the animals. I love it. My granddad always taught me the sign of a good stockman was that they know their stock, and the best way to know your stock is to watch them. And I just love to watch the cows and their characteristics and what they do. And there's definitely a hierarchy. The older cows are in charge, and the younger ones, especially these young red poll heifers we've just turned out this morning, they're definitely learning the pecking order of how it all works. So just sitting and just watching the cattle is really important, I think. And I think sometimes we're so busy doing things and rushing around and, you know, stressing out and getting wound up. Sometimes we just need to stop and look and just watch them. I think particularly in a world where we've got this coronavirus going on at the minute, where everyone's just stressed out and revved up about that, and all sorts of mental health issues, I think sometimes you just need to stop. And mental health is quite a topical thing, isn't it? And it is something that I have struggled with. And a friend of mine rang me last week, who was a lad I was at Rees Heath College with when we were doing agriculture together. And he'd suffered really bad with his mental health. Now, this was a guy that you would never ever have thought would have any sort of issues with that. He was happy-go-lucky, he was the joker. But inside, he has really struggled. And he rang me last week to say, I need help. I'm struggling, and I want to start broadcasting what I'm doing. I've been watching your YouTube stuff, and I want to start doing it, and I want to start connecting with people, not just in farming, but any sort of industry who are struggling with their mental health. And I think that's really important to do that. I think that, you know, I have struggled with it, and obviously it's great to talk and it's great to get people on side. But perhaps if you're working in an industry where you don't see a lot of people, and perhaps there's just a couple of you, perhaps on the farm or whatever job you're doing, it's not always the easiest thing to do, to talk. And I think just, you know, anybody watching this video now, that if you're struggling with any sort of anxiety or depression, or you just want to talk to somebody, I know I'm making it sound easier than perhaps you feel it might be at the minute, but there are lots of organisations out there that will want to listen, so don't suffer on your own. It's all right for me sat here in the middle of Tatton Park in the sunshine and sat on the tractor loving life, but there might well be people watching this now that aren't in a great place at the minute, and just keep going. That's my key. It's getting quite deep, this. And what you get when you've had a really wet sort of winter is ground like this. It's all been sort of churned up, and it's not flat, and there's a flat surface needed for grass to grow. You need sort of warm conditions, obviously, and you need your surface to be flat as well. And in order to get a flat surface back on fields like this, we'll need a roller. Now, you may well have watched Match of the Day and seen the turf with stripes on and all these football grounds. So they have groundsmen to keep their football pitches really flat. But we have a roller that we can use. So in the next few weeks, once this ground starts to dry up, we'll get out on our roller and just level off all this field again, and that'll help the grass start to grow. We don't use a lot of fertiliser here. We do spread a little bit of muck, and that will encourage the grass to grow as well. But yeah, rolling is our key really here on the park. So we'll get this ground rolled in the next few weeks, but it's got to be dry first, otherwise you get very stuck. So we're about 2 weeks off lambing. Do you remember the video where the tups were in? Then we had the video of the scanning. Well, it's coming to the end now, and our little lambs are due in 2 weeks' time. But this is the most important period now. We need to get the sheep ready for lambing and get them in the right condition. So they'll be coming into the sheds about a week before they lamb. So they're still outside at the minute. But these things are really important the licks, okay? The Lifeline licks, and have a look in there, okay? Doesn't look amazing, but that stuff in there is full of minerals and energy and all the things needed by those ewes for when they give birth, particularly the sheep that are having twins and triplets. Do you remember when the sheep scanner came in and he told us which ones he was going to have, and whether twins, triplets or singles? It's vital that you find that information out, because if you know your sheep is having more than one lamb, she's going to need more energy, and that's what these licks are great for. They get lots of energy into the sheep so that when they give birth they can look after themselves and the lambs as well, because there's something called twin lamb disease, and that's when the sheep puts all the energy into the lambs and hasn't got enough stored for herself, and she'll get very poorly. So these licks are vitally important. About sort of a month to 6 weeks before you're due to lamb, get these licks in there and get as much sort of energy into your ewes as possible, and everything will be fine. So hopefully in the next video, well, we will have some lambs in the next video. We're due to start from the 1st of April, so there'll be lots of little ones running around. So make sure when we see you in a month's time, you come back, and I'm sure there'll be lots of lambs to see. This is our steam cleaner, and it's really important that we get our gates for lambing as clean as possible. The key to lambing is to keep everything clean. No bacteria, no germs, no bugs, and it'll keep everything healthy. And obviously having visitors looking around, we need everything to be as clean as possible. So what we need to do is steam clean the gates. So that's what I'm doing. There's about 40 of these hurdles to wash. It's quite an addictive little job, really. But yeah, any shepherd will tell you the key to lambing is keeping everything clean. So we'll give all these gates a good steam clean and set them up in the pens, ready for lambing.